Hey there everyone, John Runner 88 here with another video, and we're going to have a chat today. And that chat is going to be about the vintage collection and the people over at Hasbro making very bad decisions because um, the recent wave that's been it's been a mess lately. I work in retail, and I was excited because the Boba Fett wave has been showing up. We've got Boba Fett, Grief Karga from season 2 of The Mandalorian, the Child, Zutan, Zutton, however you want to pronounce it, one of the Cantina patrons, and the last one is Bespin Leia with the braided hair. Um, Very excited about that wave, specifically for the Boba Fett. People have been saying how amazing it is. And Grief, I want him. Don't like his rubber robes, but I was probably gonna do some soft goods um, customizing on that. And I was gonna get the Child because I want the pram and stuff like that. And I like the head sculpt as well. But what has been showing up mostly in Targets on the East Coast, specifically Northeast, has been because I don't believe any WalMarts have had the Boba Fett wave showing up yet. But it's been showing up at Targets and a few Targets, and I've watched some people online on YouTube finding them, just going to Target and finding them. So I was excited when some vintage collection figures started showing up on the East Coast. However, Northeast, almost all of the cases that have been showing up have been the repack wave, and it's the one right here where we have the battle droid, TIE fighter pilot, Queen Amidala, and the peasant disguise, Anakin Skywalker. Um, Hasbro, who over there is making the decision? It's a repack wave, I understand, but like, is the TIE fighter pilot, the battle droid, Queen Amidala, and Anakin Skywalker going for like insane amounts online? Maybe, I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but I doubt they are. Um, like Queen Amidala, the face, like I saw the figures in person. Her face looks great, but like it's not an action figure. Like you can't do anything with this. There's so many more Padme figures that you could have reissued that have much more posability. And if not, just pick a different like she is should not be a reissue. If you've got her originally, you got her. If you didn't, you could probably find her online for a decent price. Peasant Anakin, okay, he wears that outfit for how long? Like a few scenes, like he wears it like leaving Coruscant when he gets to Naboo, and then that's it. Like I, it's just ridiculous. The battle droid, yes, that is the battle droid here. The only one I picked up from the reissue wave. This is not the new TIE pilot. This is the one from the vintage collection TIE fighter. I got it at Walmart on clearance a few years back. Um, he's a terrible figure. But the battle droid, this is a great reissue because it's an army builder. Because even people who have this, like me, I picked up these two. I got them in. I went to a secondhand store, and I don't know how I got this lucky, but I found a bag of Star Wars figures. It was like some clone troopers and like it had a spider droid in it, which was awesome, like a mini spider droid, and it had these two battle droids, which I'd never had before. Never had this mold. I've had Attack of the Clones styles that were usually in a fixed position. You could maybe move their arm a little bit. Um, but and then I have a few of these guys. This is the like original Phantom Menace style. Um, obviously the proportions aren't on point. Well, obviously very chunky, but it's good for back then, like the articulation and everything. And a great thing about them, which I wish these new ones had. I don't know why they didn't do this because it's in the movie. Like they store their blasters on their side, like on their backpacks, like that. You see in the movie, they all reach back and they're like, and they, have in their hand. So, and they could have easily put a little slit in the backpack. This is the new one. It's got a slightly different wash, which I'm not a fan of, but they could have easily put a little slit in there so you could slide. They've all got the little like blaster ammo cartridge. But yeah, my only issue with this repack is I don't like the sheen they put. They put kind of like a metallic sheen. But battle droids are never like metallic. Also, the only other issue with these droids is you can't like articulate. Their hands are stuck like in the blaster, like the trigger hold, like handle holding position. Obviously, they're just too small in scale to do like it'd break in 2 seconds if they put like a rotating forearm or something. But they could have had it like fixed, like to hold the like barrel of the gun. But you can like kind of put it. There's a little section in the gun that's carved out that you can kind of shove their hand in. So it's not too bad. I kind of figured that out today, and it's not that bad looking. At least keeps his hand there, gives the illusion that he's holding it. But I mean, the articulation on these, they've got the hand. They got everything you need for a battle droid. And then you can like collapse them down. You can like put their head down and put them in like the folding position, which is awesome. I love that little detail. But this is a great repack because it's an army builder. So people who have already bought the who have bought battle droids in the past, when the repack wave comes out, they won't be super upset about stuff like this. It's like, oh, I can just get more battle droids. The only reason I picked him up was because there was like a coupon at Target. He'll maybe stand. And I just didn't want it to go to waste. It was like 25% off a toy. So I picked up a battle droid. Yeah, Roger. Put him back here for now. Just don't feel like wrestling with him. But but yeah, basically the same as the other ones. Same articulation, just a slightly different wash. They all come with like the single, like the small antenna version that you can clip into them in the backpack. But this guy, this is a terrible addition to the repack wave. I know they're like, I don't know what they're doing over there at Hasbro. All right, are you gonna keep doing this, camera? You're gonna be terrible like that? But this is a terrible looking figure, if you ask me. It's exactly the same as the figure that came out in the reissue wave. Same helmet, and you can't like take the helmet off. There is a head under there, and that's how it's designed. But they glued on like just like a stock helmet, like a stock head. I mean, I hate the blaster that he comes with. I hate like who would want a blaster like that with like that scope or whatever it is like in your armpit. But if you're gonna reissue a figure, especially like the battle droid is fine, you don't have to do anything with him. He's great. However, it's not good when you come out with a reissued figure when you've got a 5 points of articulation figure that, in my opinion, is the far superior looking figure. This guy's helmet, you cannot see it at all. Let's see, let's turn this. Turn the light on. Alright. It's probably going to be all blown out now. There we go. This guy, his helmet looks so good. I absolutely love it. This helmet is like, it's just like the eyes like bulge out and everything. And I'm sure maybe like a helmet did look like that somewhere in a galaxy far, far away. But this one is so clean looking. Just everything looks great on him. His box looks great. They could have easily have taken the torso, and I'm sure there could have needed to be some reworking done. But taking the torso and the head from this figure and like retooled it, or like taken like I'm sure they've got digital schematics or something. They could have tweaked it around and then had these, because this guy's stupid too. He's got this belt here. Like, what is this? Why is there like a second belt over his existing belt? I'm sure there's some stupid reason for it, but this TIE fighter pilot looks phenomenal. And I know the vintage collection, like this would never pass in it, like the articulation wise, just because, it's like the premium line. But it just needs different legs and arms because, like, the articulation is the same for the torso. There's some waist swivel. Okay, so it would lose out on waist swivel, but there's figures in the vintage collection that don't have that, so it's not even like an issue. But this is from the Solo TIE Fighter, um, around like for the Solo movie release, and it's a great TIE Fighter. It's one of my favorites. I think the vintage collection one, the wings are too mine. The wings on mine broke actually. Um, Inside, like one of the mechanisms snapped. It was like a tiny piece of plastic. So turn the light off. So that was kind of like a garbage design too. But the Solo one, it's like a squat design. Um, he can sit in the shadows. I don't feel like messing with that. But but he came with the Solo figure, and a lot of figures around when Solo was releasing, they have great head sculpts and great um, like designs, even though they're 5 POA. And there are some that were like the sculpting was on point around that era um, of figures when we had that secondary line going on with like the vintage collection figures. So figure characters that weren't heavily focused on, which they should be, because I mean, why not? They're all great characters, even if they don't have the most screen time. Um, but their designs were great. Um, and fans always want new designs, new characters, just people to fill up their collections. If you take photos, you want more options for the adventures your figures are going on. But the TIE Fighter pilot would have been a great release if they had done something to it, but they didn't. They were as lazy as they could be. So people who um, have already gotten this character, this pilot, like how many people? I'm sure there's some collectors out there that have tons of TIE Fighters, but like most collectors, I'm sure have a couple of. There's not even a TIE Fighter on the market right now. So what's a kid want a TIE Fighter pilot for if he can't get a TIE Fighter? Battle droid, that's fine. You can have a battle droid anywhere. TIE Fighter pilot, you're going to want to put him in something. And if you can't put him in something, you want him to be able to be in some great action poses. And this guy, he's still got the swivel legs and stuff, so he can't do much of anything as far as like getting a cool stance going for firing your blaster. Um, his blaster's stupid anyway. But yeah, the repack wave, it's just such a disappointment. Like, I don't understand why they're trying to like why they're like flooding they're not even flooding the shelves. Like we would love it if they would flood the shelves with figures. They're just like we're getting like a case at a time in some stores, and it's extremely frustrating. Especially when like some people are like, oh, the vintage collection just like doesn't sell like it used to, or like three or the 3 4 inch figures, they're just not selling like they used to. Yeah, because they're not in the stores. We're getting them at like bargain stores like Ollie's and like TJ Maxx or something. Like a couple of years later, they just like show up randomly. Like they've just been in a warehouse for years, um, just like for no reason, just like not showing up in the big box retail stores. And it's cool to like have them show up for like discounted prices, but like we don't know that they're going to show up at those locations. Like, what if the targets in the Northeast just don't get the Boba Fett wave because these ones have been showing up in place? And I feel like what's happening though is, um, like the I have a feeling that with Target's distribution in the Northeast, I think because I these figures, this wave, the repack wave, is just now showing up over here. I know it's shown up here and there, like in other places um, across the country in the U.S. I'm in the U.S., so you know everything's different in Canada and across the over in Europe and stuff, and Australia. Distribution's all crazy all over the place. Um, but in Northeast United States, we're just now seeing these figures. The stores over here, Targets, even Walmart's, the vintage figures have been empty on the shelves for months. The last wave I saw in in a Target was the Moff Gideon Wave Vintage Collection, and that was in December. We just got this wave in the middle of March. So it's been basically 3 whole months with zero vintage figures in stores. And I think that these figures, in the Northeast at least, were like lost in transit somewhere, or like there's probably several pallets of them in the Northeast in like a warehouse somewhere, and they're just like they turned up recently, I feel like. Um, and it was around the time that the Boba Fett wave has started to come out, which I don't think the Boba Fett wave is supposed to be coming out yet. I think that's because it's not showing up at Walmart's that I'm aware of. I think, again, it's a distribution issue. It's just people not caring, not keeping track of things. When it's like toys are like one of the few items in a store that people will come in when it's released and buy a whole case of it. Like that doesn't happen with any other department in stores unless it's like the Boo Berry's coming out because it's Halloween and they want to get tons of Boo Berry, maybe sell it online or something. Like, do that if you want, I suppose. But figures and toys, like, they've got like figures come out constantly. Like, there's always a rotation. Wrestling figures are very notorious for this. I know they are very good at like with Mattel and whatnot, and Jazzwares now with the AEW figures. They're pretty good at having a wave like every like couple months or something, and they have a nice flow of their product coming out. And the Black Series is okay with that, but still, like, there's just not enough out there. There's still like the pegs at my store for Black Series. Like, if I don't get a case like every couple of days, they'd just be bare too. I don't get them that frequently. We get cases. The last wave we did get quite a bit in, but vintage collection, again, it's just like, what's going on? Let's get these figures out there. Let's make smarter decisions, Hasbro, with our repack waves. Do not do crappy TIE fighter pilots. Please do good battle droids. Do not do Queen Amidala. She is basically just a statue with some arms that can move a little bit. Peasant disguise Anakin Skywalker. Do not do that. The reissue of like the Obi-Wan Clone Wars Obi-Wan and Anakin, that was good. The Anakin's head looked terrible, but those were good reissues because it was around the time that like the Clone Wars was premiering. It was a little late, I think, but it was still. But then we get crap like this, like the reissue Rex, like Hasbro, please fix that. But we need. There are plenty of figures that you could be redoing, Hasbro, that people would love for repack waves, reissue waves, whatever you want to call it. The Mandalorian just had the Shore Troopers, or the Coastal Defense Troopers, however you want to call them, Scarif Troopers, and they didn't have the assault tank drivers, but they had the bits of the design. That would be a phenomenal figure to reissue, Hasbro. You could be doing like a Death Trooper reissue or something, or there's another one I was thinking of. But definitely a tank driver reissue, Shore Trooper reissue. You could just do the Stormtrooper again. Why not get another one out there? Another release of it out there. The Rogue One Stormtrooper, it's phenomenal. And then throw in anything else at that point. But like, just do like an archive line, like in the Black Series, but with like army builders, just troopers. Just have a constant flow of them. Don't put like as much weathering or something on them to keep the cost down a little bit. That way you can make like a little more money on the back end of it with just having like a constant flow of like troopers or something. Um, but yeah, it's just like it's just such a disappointment when it's like, ooh, there's there's a case of vintage figures in. The Boba Fett wave's been popping up, but we got the repack wave that was coming out like a month ago. There's that focus there. Great focus. Yeah, very disappointing. Very frustrating. And I'm not alone. I know there's plenty of people that are looking and hoping for these figures. I have customers coming in all the time, almost like several times a week, just like, oh, did you get any vintage figures in? And I'm just like, oh, we've got some on the way, but it's not what they're looking for. They don't want these figures. They want the Boba Fett. I want the Boba Fett. Hasbro, figure it out. Stop doing these crappy repacks. Do it smart. Like when I get a new vintage case in, they're sold within. If it's a new wave, it's gone within like the hour. If somebody comes along and sees it, they're gonna get at least one of each figure. And then and that sucks too because most stores are just getting like one case. So it's like they're gone in like an hour, and then what do we gotta wait for like the next wave, which is how many months away? Yeah, a little rant here. Little loving on the battle droid. Look at him. Looks so great. TIE fighter pilot. They could have done much better with him. Made him a desirable figure. Yeah. Hasbro, I know you're watching. Of course you're watching. Why wouldn't you be watching? I'm talking about your figures. You want to know what people think about them. Yeah, Hasbro, I know you're watching. You better be. But that's my rant. That's what I think. It's what Hasbro should do differently. Not these. Okay, they can do him. Could have done him. Assault tank driver. That goes for like 50 on the low end, like 100 on the high end online. The Shore Trooper, which just showed up in The Mandalorian as well. You'll sell them. And a reissue of the Rogue One Trooper. Do those. They will not stay on the pegs for longer than like an hour. So thank you for everyone for watching. If you had fun listening to the rant, I haven't done a video in a while, so I wanted to get something out there. But that's me clearing my throat. Feel free to subscribe. I would love to get more content on the channel and do more videos, but the problem is there's no figures to review right now because Hasbro is not doing a good job with distribution, and Target and Walmart, and even if they're in stores, there's one case, and yeah, so much fun collecting. It's very fun, not stressful at all. Let's hope Boba Fett shows up, or maybe you know what, let's all just not buy anything. We'll let them sit. They'll go clearance or salvage, and they'll show up at Ollie's for $4 in a couple years. How's that sound? Awesome. Collecting. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want. Give it a like, comment. There's nobody really commenting, so I'll reply to all the comments. So leave me one of those. I'll check it out. Remember, subscribe if you want. And thank you for watching, guys. Bye.